Hey there, I'm Camille, and this is my Prosper Blender YouTube channel. Today we'll be modeling a very basic jack-o'-lantern. So let's do it! Okay, let's do it! Here's what our jack-o'-lantern is going to look like in the final version. And now let's get started. Here are the steps for you to follow. Step 1. Add a UV sphere. First, let's delete the default cube by hitting X on the keyboard, delete, and save your file. I already saved my file. Now add a UV sphere, Shift A, Mesh, UV sphere, go to Edit mode, make sure everything is selected and scale it up by pressing S3, Enter. Rename the sphere Pumpkin in the outliner. Pumpkin, right. Step 2. Subdivide the sphere. So go to the Modifier tab over here and add a Subdivision Surface modifier. Set levels in both Viewport and Render to 2. Step 3. Flatten the jack-o'-lantern. Now deselect all and select just the vertex at the bottom. This one over here. Enable proportional editing. With the default smooth fall-off, hit G to move the selected vertex and scroll your mouse wheel until the radius of the circle is about 3, which you can see in the left corner, upper left corner. Then hit Z to constrain the movement to the Z-axis and hit 1.5, Enter, to move the vertex that much up. Now you should see a flattened bottom. Good. Next, select the vertex at the top. Hit G and change the size of the circle to about 2.6. Hit Z and type -1 to move the vertex 1 unit down on the Z-axis. Enter to confirm. Good. Now hit 1 on your numpad to go to front view. And your jack-o'-lantern should now be flattened at the bottom and at the top. Disable proportional editing. Step 4. Move the origin. The origin of the jack-o'-lantern model is now at the coordinate 0, 0, 0, so in the word origin. This is in the middle of the pumpkin. Let's change this. Select all in Edit mode and move it up so that the origin marked as an orange dot is at the bottom of the model. This is going to be more convenient if you want to place the model in a 3D scene or in a game. So G, Z, and let's move it up. We can hold down Control to snap, like this. Good. Actually, when you orbit the scene, you'll notice the origin is now outside the model. It's over here. But this is fine. Step 5. Apply the Subdivision Surface modifier. Switch to Object mode. In the Subdivision Surface modifier panel, click the arrow over here, and this will expand the menu and select Apply. Now the modification to the mesh is permanent. Step 6. Add a Displaced modifier. The pumpkin looks nice, maybe even too nice. It's very smooth and regular. Let's make it slightly less so. To this end, we'll add a Displaced modifier with the texture. So, select the Displaced modifier and hit the New button. to create a new texture. With the texture added, let's edit it. Go to the Texture tab over here, and under Type, select Magic. Set Depth to 9 and Turbulence to 3.5. Now go back to the Modifier tab and shade the object smooth. You will find the Shade Smooth option in the Object menu. Object, Shade Smooth. Maybe it's not perfect, but for our purposes it will do. This is our pumpkin. Step 7. Model the stem of the jack-o'-lantern. The stem is going to be a separate object at the beginning. So, in Object mode, add a circle and move it up, so hit G, Z, up, so that it's above the pumpkin. You can rename the circle stem in the outliner. So, stem. This is if you like keeping stuff tidy. Now, go to Top View, so hit 7 on your numpad, and switch to Edit mode. Deselect all, and select 5 vertices on the circle. Something like this. Here, hold down Shift, maybe here, maybe here, maybe here, and here. Enable proportional editing. Hit S to scale. Make sure the radius of the circle by the circle that you use for proportional editing is about 1. So you have to scroll your mouse wheel until it's about 1. And then type 0.6 and hit Enter to confirm. Then select all the vertices of the stem. Select all. And let's extrude. So hit E, Z to constrain to the vertical axis, 1. Enter. This is our stem. Now let's add a Subdivision Surface modifier to it. So go to Modifiers, add Modifier, Subdivision Surface, and let's set levels to 2 in both Viewport and Render. Now go to Object mode. You have to be in Object mode to apply a modifier. And now apply the modifier. Good. Shade the stem smooth. Shade smooth. Fine. Now go back to Edit mode. Disable proportional editing and make sure all vertices are selected. And scale the stem on the X and Y axis only. So hit S, Shift Z, which will constrain the scaling to the other two axes, X and Y. And now type 0.6, Enter. Go to Front View, Wireframe Shading over here, and select the bottom vertices. Just the bottom vertices. Enable proportional editing and change the fall-off to sharp. Hit S to scale and set the radius of the circle to about 1.2. Then type 1.5 to set the scaling factor and hit Enter. Disable proportional editing deselect all, and now select just the vertices at the top. Go to solid shading, hit E to extrude, and then immediately hit S to scale and type in 0.8 to scale and hit enter. Now repeat this step several times, so extrude and scale. You can use different scaling factors each time. Keep doing this until there's only a small opening in the center. So let's do it fast. E to extrude, S to scale, something like this. E, S, something like this. E, S, something like this. E, S, E, S, maybe one more time. E, S, and this will do. Now zoom in so that you can see it better. Fine. Then in the mesh menu, under merge, select add center. And this will merge all the vertices in one point. Now go to object mode. Add a Displaced modifier. Select the same texture as before, so it's here. Now play with strength and mid-level until you are satisfied. I set mine to 1.1 for strength and 0.862 for mid-level. Finally, move the stem down so that it sticks out of the pumpkin. G, Z. We can go inside to make sure it's in the pumpkin. Yeah, that's right. Again, as our model is going to be pretty simple, this will do. Apply the Displaced modifier on both the stem and the pumpkin. Step 8. Join the objects. Now select first the stem, then the pumpkin, so Shift, select, hit Ctrl J to join the two objects. Now we have just one object here, pumpkin. Step 9. Prepare an SVG image. To carve the pumpkin, we need a vector image, so one with the extension SVG. If you only have a PNG image, you can easily convert it to SVG using one of the online services. Just type something like PNG to SVG converter in your browser and you will find a website where you can easily do it. I'm going to use the following image that I downloaded from Pixabay as a PNG image. I converted it online to an SVG file. I used the convertio.co website to do that. The link is down in the description. You can use any image you like. When you're done with the file, you have to import it to Blender. So, go to the File menu and select Import and then Scalable Vector Graphics. Now find the image, the SVG image you just prepared. Import. Step 10. Carve the jack-o'-lantern. Your SVG image is now imported to the scene, but it may be very small and hidden under the pumpkin. So to see it better, select the pumpkin and hit H to hide it. the SVG image was imported as a set of curves. You can see them here. Select one of the curves in the outliner, the first one for example, and then hover your mouse cursor over the 3D viewport and hit the period on your numpad to zoom in. Zoom out a little if necessary, so that you can see it better. Now you can see all the curves. Now select all the curves and hit Ctrl J to join them together. Now in the Object Data tab, under Geometry, set Extrude to 0.05. Now go to the Object menu and under Convert, select Mesh. Now this is a mesh and not a curve. Rename it Face in the outliner. Now the origin of the mesh is outside its geometry. It's over here, the orange dot. This is the origin. To fix this, go to the Object menu and under Set Origin, select Origin to Geometry. And now it's here. Now click on the eye icon in the outliner to unhide the pumpkin. It's so much bigger than the face that the latter will be inside the former. Now hit S to scale and scale it up until it's comparable in size with the pumpkin. I use the scaling factor of 40, so just type 40 and hit Enter to confirm. Let's rotate the face by hitting RX -90 and then RY 180. Good. We're going to use the face to carve the pumpkin, so move and scale the face so that it's the size you like. So G to move the Y axis. Let's go to front view. G, Z, S to scale down. G, to put it somewhere here. This will do. Okay. Yes. Next, we must make sure that the face intersects the pumpkin. So let's go to top view. G, Y. Good. Now it intersects the pumpkin. Now select the pumpkin and add a Boolean modifier. So modifiers, add Boolean modifier. Under Object, select the face. This is the object we're going to use to cut with. Now make sure Difference is selected. Now select the face and hit H to hide it. Now you can see the holes. Now it looks like the pumpkin needs some more geometry. So select the pumpkin again and add a Subdivision Surface modifier. Set levels in both viewport and render to 2. Also, make sure, it's very important, that the Subdivision Surface modifier is above the Boolean modifier. So let's just drag it up. Good. So as you can see, the order of modifiers matters. Now apply the two modifiers, so Subdivision and Boolean. And delete the face and the collection it's in. So we don't need face, delete, and this collection. Delete. Fine, save the file. Step 11. add materials to the jack-o'-lantern. We're ready to add materials. Let's keep it simple. We're going to use two materials, one for the pumpkin and one for the stem. Let's start with the former. Select the pumpkin and go to Edit mode. Switch to Material Preview Shading over here. Now, if the stem is also selected, just deselect all and then hover your mouse cursor over the pumpkin, but not the stem, and hit L. This will select just the pumpkin, the head, without the stem. Now go to the Material tab over here and add a new material, New, and rename it Pumpkin. Enter. Set its base color to, for example, hex F27DOO, or any other shade of orange you like. Now hit the Assign button. This will assign the material to the selected vertices only. Next, deselect all, and now we have to select just the stem. So again, hover your mouse cursor over the stem and press L. Now here in the Material tab, hit the plus button and New to add a new material. Rename it Stem. Now let's set its base color to, for example, 493300, or any other color you like, and hit the Assign button to assign the color to the stem. Now go to Object mode, and you're now in the Material Preview Shading, so you can see the materials on the model. Now the stem looks a bit too shiny, so let's drag roughness all the way up to 1. Roughness 1. It's no longer shiny. Step 12. Punch real holes. Now as you look closer at the model, let's go to Solid Shading, for example, and Edit mode. You will notice that there are faces at the back of the mouth, nose and eyes. Let's get rid of them. First, let's select just one of the faces. For example, here. We must be in Face Select mode, of course. Yes. We can now go to the Select menu and under Select Similar, select Coplanar. Now let's go to Wireframe to make sure only the faces were selected that we wanted. So the ones at the back of the eyes, the nose and the mouth. Okay, looks good. So let's go to Solid Shading again and hit X, Faces, to delete these faces. And now we have real holes. And we can see through. We can see the inside of the pumpkin through the holes. Now step 13, add lights. Now go to the World tab and change world color to black. Go to Wireframe Shading, select the light, go to Top View and duplicate the light. Shift D to duplicate. Move it somewhere here, for example. Now, let's position the two lights in front of the model. So let's select both and move them to the front. G, Y, somewhere here. Let's select one of them and duplicate again and move it to the center of the pumpkin. Let's go to front view and make sure it's really in the center, even somewhere near the bottom. Good. Now in the Object Data tab over here, set power to 200 watts for this particular light. Good. Step 14. Render the image of the jack-o'-lantern. So first of all, let's go to rendered shading so that we can see the pumpkin. Good. Now orbit the scene until you get the view of the model that you would like to render. Like for example, something like this. Then in the View menu, under Align View, select Align Active Camera to View. Now you can see a saddle rectangle. The model you can see within the bounds of the rectangle will be rendered. So, Ctrl S to save, and now go to the Render menu and select Render Image. This is it. We now have a basic jack-o'-lantern model. Happy Halloween! Okay, that's it for this video. If you like it, a thumbs up would be great. Also, make sure to subscribe for future videos. If you want to leave a comment or ask a question, you're welcome to do so. Thanks for watching.